Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and tonight I'm joined by Derek.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
We are back covering Wicked Wicked Games. Today we are covering episodes 27 to 31. So I'll roll the credits and we'll get right into it. Wow.
Yeah,
The 5 episodes and a lot happened.
yeah,
So we pick up with Blythe announcing that she is the new majority owner of the Tides. And she's essentially their boss now because she's 51%
yep.
owner. Um, love this scene. This scene was really good.
It was really
Um,
good. Yeah,
because like you had like her people like like in a stance, like standing around, and like his
uh,
people.
uh,
And I liked when he was like, how did you like get the information that we were like in financial instability? And
uh,
she's like, from my son, or have you met my son Aaron? And then when he realized that Aaron was Daniel and he
yeah,
went to choke her, I was like, oh my god.
yeah. That was crazy. And then like you had like Aaron and Benjamin and like I was somebody else like pulling her off of him, pulling him
Yeah,
off of her. Yeah,
yeah.
like
And I like how she was just like, like it was an inconvenience.
it's no big deal.
And then we have Brooke finding out that Daniel is Aaron and that he is her son.
Yeah.
So that happened.
Hmm.
He almost looked like happy about it. Like the way he smirked, it was almost like he was like, "Yep, I tricked you too."
Yeah. Well, I think if that was when the smirk I saw was when Blake like kind of told him, was like, "Yeah, he's my son," and then he had a little smirk on his face, and he was like a little evil look.
Yeah. Lonnie, I feel like she's starting to get a little bit of a backbone in these episodes.
Yes. Hmm.
She her face gives everything away. So even though she's trying to push back, she like looks like she wants to cry all
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
time. Like she even like follows Taylor into his office as he's like
Mhm.
packing up his things, and she's trying to explain, and he doesn't want to hear anything out of her because he feels
Mhm.
like she used him. And she's like, I tried to tell you. He was like, you told me the morning of that something was gonna happen.
Right. Like, there's nothing we could do at this point.
And she's like trying to explain, I didn't know you were gonna lose your job, and he just
Mhm.
doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
There was a scene with her. Um, I think it may have been that scene actually, because it was like security was standing there, and she was like, "I work." She's like, "I'm Blythe Hunter's personal assistant."
Mhm.
She's like, "Do I need to remind you who you work for?" Like she
Oh
asserted
yeah.
herself, but she still looked like she wanted to cry.
Right. Well, she wanted to have a moment with Taylor, and so she wanted
Yeah,
the security guys to leave, and then at the end, Aaron and Blake come in and goes, "Oh, you like this office? It's yours."
yeah. Oh yeah, that was rough. And then she's like, "You're welcome to come join us for dinner." And he's like, "Go enjoy your party." I was like,
Right.
ugh, bad timing. And she's just like, uh.
Yeah.
um, I like Blythe's unhinged delight in her victory, but
Mhm.
I feel like she's getting sloppy,
She
or
is.
maybe it just looks like she's getting sloppy. I don't know what her end goal is. Because I don't know if she wants the Tides to be successful or if she's purposely like sabotaging everything to just like
I
destroy it.
don't think she does. I think there was a moment where she said that, I don't know if it was in this batch or the previous batch where I think it was in this batch where she was like, "Yeah, you and Josh get your legacy to Aaron," and then, but it seems like now she's sabotaging everything. Like she doesn't want to read Aaron's proposals. She doesn't want to do
Right.
any of his ideas. So, and now she was saying at the end, like they're going to go public.
Right.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, like you said, Aaron wrote up this whole proposal and she pretended like she was gonna read it, and the minute he left, she threw it in the garbage.
Yeah.
Um, and then later on, she's like, "Tell me what your proposal is in like 1 second." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, that's doable."
Yeah.
And she mentions putting um a casino, like slot machines.
Yeah.
And he's like, "No." He's like, "That's gonna ruin everything. He's like, "Do you know how loud those machines are?" He's like, "I know we wired like the annex to that's what it's called, right? The annex
Annex, yeah.
to have it." He's like, "But that was just like to like for them to spend the money that they had borrowed."
Yeah. And
So
he's like, "You can't change California gambling laws." Like, and she's like, "Watch me."
and I'm like, "How is she gonna do that? Does she have like a senator in her pocket or something?"
I don't know.
She's gonna blackmail somebody. I know it.
Mhm,
Um, but yeah, all week with Lonnie, I was like, "Don't let her grab your hair ever again,"
mhm.
because I'm gonna be so
Yeah.
mad if it happens one more time. There was a scene where she told Lonnie that she was doing a good job and she deserves a raise with her with her new office and promotion.
Mhm.
And then she like got up, she looked at her nails, and she was like, "Why don't you get a new manicure with your new raise?"
Yeah.
I was like,
He always has
"You're
to
such a
sting
bitch,
her after complimenting her.
such a bitch." So I think we kind of got an answer, but not really. Who Philippe is? I guess
Yeah.
it's Blythe. They didn't show the screen, but we saw Maddie chatting with him, which we've never seen. They've only corresponded
Right,
through
right, right.
emails. So I was like, oh, did they just remember that instant messenger exists and now they're having a conversation?
Yeah.
And then we see Blythe typing, and but we don't see who she's typing to, and she closes the screen. So I'm thinking that it's Blythe. It has to
Um,
be, right? Well, you know, but
Definitely a hint, yeah. Um, but it was funny because I the whole Philippe thing is just she keeps talking about life, and she talked about Theo's gambling problem and like all these personal things. So if it is Blake, she's getting a lot of information.
right, which would make sense that it's Blythe
Yeah.
because she knew everything. Like you even mentioned this in a previous episode that he knew that
Mhm.
the girls weren't
Right.
Theo's.
Right. And that's probably because Madeline told him.
Right.
But at the same time, it could be another reason.
Hmm. I kept thinking, I'm like, wow, 31 episodes we're in. We're literally halfway through because there's 62.
Yep.
I'm like, and we still haven't seen this Philippe guy. And then we saw like Blythe typing, and I'm like, oh shit, there is no Philippe.
Hmm.
But I guess to be continued with that.
Hmm.
um, oof, I wanted her and Hope to have another like knockdown drag out fight when she came to like defend Emma.
Yeah. Hmm.
She was like, "You ready here?" She's like, "I'm not in the mood to kick your ass again."
Right.
But I did like how Hope was like, "I'm not afraid of you," and
Hmm.
because Blythe was like third time's a charm, and I'm like, you really think you're gonna get a third shot at this guy romantically?
Right.
I mean, maybe if he's drunk because he's been drinking a lot.
Hmm. And the
Um,
whole thing with Emma, working at the ties and Blake, like, kind of like doing all those crazy things. They were,
sabotaging her at every like
yeah, just sabotaging her every turn.
right.
Crazy. Like, I don't know how Emma deals with that. That's crazy.
She doesn't want to leave because she wants to like be able to like somehow
Hmm.
protect her legacy.
Hmm.
Um, but she's just taking a lot of shit. At
Yeah.
one point, Blythe even like pick up my dry cleaning while you're delivering. She's like, "Why do I have to deliver this?" She's like, "We have like a courier service for this."
Mhm.
She's like, "And I'm
For
not
the
like your
taste of
laptop."
ties.
I like how what's her name? Jennifer.
Hmm.
There was a scene with Jennifer and Aaron,
Hmm.
and I think Blythe, because Blythe was like, "Oh, you're very loyal," and Aaron was like, "Yeah, she's loyal to anyone that signs her paychecks."
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And then there was a scene where Josh came to visit, and she was wearing the watch that he sent for Emma, and she just like put her hand over it so he wouldn't see
Yeah.
she was wearing it.
Hmm.
um,
And it's still shocking to me that Edward and Jennifer haven't gotten caught. Like,
I know. I
yeah,
keep expecting it. Like every time, like at this point, every episode, I'm like, okay, maybe this will be the episode they get caught because they've been having a lot of office sex.
yeah, sure.
And they don't like. I don't think they lock the doors. So
I think they do, but like I feel like they're not going to be careful one time, and something's going to happen.
right. Um, so Aaron seems to like want to take this seriously.
Mhm.
I think in his head, he's like, okay, now this is my legacy. We own this. So I'm
Mhm.
going to try and do a good job. And that's why he's coming up with these proposals.
Mhm.
And so he wants to have an event that'll line up with the opening of the annex to kind of get
Mhm.
press and like the media talking about it. And there's like some pageant
Beauty
that they're
pageant.
using their venue. And so he wants to have that.
Mhm.
And Blythe is like against it. She's like, "That's trashy. You're gonna have like women in bikinis, like
Yeah.
walking around here. Like, what's that gonna do for like our high rollers?" And then she like is like, "Fine, do what you want, just don't mess it up."
Yeah.
All right. Um. So Lonnie is cleaning out Taylor's office, and she basically has boxes full of his files.
Mhm.
And she finds the pool stick that she bought him after they had their date where they were playing pool.
Mhm.
And when Blythe walked in, I was like, "Oh, she's gonna break this pool stick," because
Yeah.
she breaks everything. I was like, "We focused on this pool stick for too long," because she left it out. She didn't like unscrew it and put it back in the thing. She like left it out, and
Mhm.
Blythe was like, "I didn't know you played pool," and I was like, "Oh, there goes the pool stick." I thought she was gonna like break it in half, but she just threw it across the room.
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, it's not broken."
Right. Maybe that would have been too cruel.
Um, Jennifer said, or Lonnie asked Jennifer to ask Blythe like which files she wants to have like archived and which ones she wants destroyed. But then
Mhm.
Blythe walks in and she's like, "Burn them all."
Yeah.
And Lonnie's like, "But these are like records for the business." And she's like, "I don't care. Burn them all. I want every trace of that Taylor like out of this office."
And she called him a neurotic idiot, which is really funny.
um,
I'm
I
not
laughed when
good.
at the celebration dinner where Josh walked in and she was like, "Oh, are you joining us for dinner, honey?"
Yeah. Mhm.
And he like was like telling them how despicable they both were. And she
Mhm.
was like, "This is why Aaron's the only one that I can count on."
Right? And I love that scene where she's talking to the webcam and she's saying, like, Josh is gonna, likes to help others, and that's fine, but I'm gonna help myself.
um, what else happened? So like she's spending a lot of time in this office at the Tides.
Mhm.
Has she given up her I don't know what she did. Was she like
I think she's a
interior
realtor.
a realtor or interior design? I wasn't
I
sure what she
I
did.
believe I think she's a realtor, so I guess that, she has other people running that now? I don't know what the whole thing
Because
is.
it was always just her and Lonnie in that office.
Yeah, or the Pendleton Holding, whatever that was, if that's what.
Oh, I laughed when Theo got Edward and like the paperwork or whatever, and he's like, "Tell me she's not Pendleton Holding
Holding,
whatever,"
yeah,
and he's like, "She is," and he was like, "Damn it!"
right. It's like, come on, we already knew.
So Brooke has reverted back to her old party self. She's no longer trying to class it up. Um, and there was a scene where the father was telling her that her dress was too skimpy and that she needed to like put more clothes on or change.
Mhm.
And she was like, says the drunk or whatever, and she just like stormed out.
Right, and she also found out about her father not being Theo, and
Right.
yeah,
Which
and
is
like,
what I think that's actually what I think caused her to start reverting, because at
yeah,
first she was kind of like, I need to do something to help my father, like with this what just
right. That
happened.
this they started fighting, and Theo started drinking, and then Theo and Hope started getting into it, and Brooks acting like out of control. So
Yeah. I mean, Hope flat was like blah 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 that you're not their real father. And I was like, why would you say it like that out loud?
yeah, and
In
then
the
Brooks
house.
listening at the door, and she's like, "What do you mean he's not my real father?"
Right. um so I guess Brooke and Lonnie are playing a game that she could get any guy to do whatever she wants. And
Yeah.
she gets with a guy who has a girlfriend or is like with somebody that night, and he
Mhm.
like brushes the girl off for her. And then
Right.
she brings him back to the Tides, to the stables, and she's making out with him, taking clothes off. And she tricks him into like being tied up and like having like a handkerchief in his mouth, and she takes a picture, and she won some bet she made with Lonnie.
Mhm.
Find out that she left him there all night, and not Lonnie, what's the
Cherry.
Cherry?
Yeah, Cherry.
Cherry. I've been saying Lonnie. Cherry.
Mhm.
um, went back and let him go because she said she was
Yeah.
being cruel. So then they got into a fight, and
That was so, like, cruel of Brooke, like, why would she do that? Like, just
yeah,
I didn't like that.
um, and Brooke basically calls her a follower, which she is. And she's like,
Mhm.
"I'm a leader," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, you lead." um, so a couple of times, Aaron was taking a pill, and I didn't know what this was. Was this because he was starting to have a panic attack again, or is
I
there
think
going to be like
that's
a drug addiction
what it was.
story coming up?
I think he's still having, like, panic attacks and he's on medication.
Okay,
Mhm.
because it happened once, and then like towards the end of the week or this batch of episodes, it happened again, and I was like,
Mhm.
not quite sure what we're doing here. Um, is it because he's so stressed with everything going on? Like,
Yeah, probably.
um, so he ends up going to the bar. Well, this is pretty much how it ends. Him and Josh actually get into a physical altercation, and
Yeah.
Josh like beats him up. And it
Mhm.
almost happened again because I think he went to Josh's apartment and fell asleep there.
Mhm.
And Josh was like ready to get into his face. He was like pushing him. He's like, "I don't want you here." I was like, "Again? You guys are gonna fight
Yeah.
again?" um, there was a scene with him and Emma where he like basically pleaded for her to like believe him that he didn't know anything was going on, and the
Mhm.
only thing that he knowingly lied about was that him and Aaron were brothers.
Yeah.
And she ends up believing him, and they hug. Jennifer tries to stir up trouble with Edward because while Emma was around doing all her errands for Blythe, she says she just got back. I think she may have went to go see that doctor friend of hers. So then he's all jealous. And
Yeah.
then when he goes back to his office, Jennifer's just like sitting on his desk, ready to have sex.
Yeah.
um, what else? So Theo's gambling, and I'm like, with what money? Didn't you just lose all your money?
Yeah, basically. He probably has, like, some money, but not a lot.
Yeah. He gets so drunk and he runs out of money to gamble with that
Mm.
Lonnie's sister actually has to spot him money for a cab home.
Yeah.
Um so I guess we can talk about this now. Well, Brooke is at the club talking with the bartender. This is the same bartender that's been on since the beginning, right?
Mhm.
Since she
Yeah.
was like dancing on top of the bar and everything.
Mhm.
Um I almost feel like they should hook up because he knows her and like
He's always, like, warning her, "Stay out of trouble, like, don't do this, don't do that." I'm
yeah.
like, "Is he your mentor?"
And she sees a guy walk in, and a lot of people seem to know him, and she's like, "Oh, who's that?" to the bartender, and he's like, "Oh, he's the Candy Man, I think, or the Sugar Man." Sugar Man?
Candyman, yeah,
Candy Man. I wasn't sure if they were allowed to say Candy Man because copyright reasons, but
yeah,
he's the Candy Man, and she's like, "What?" And he's like, "Drug dealer." So she's like, "Hmm." So I guess because she's on a self-destructive path, she's like, "What kind of drugs?"
right, yeah,
So he sees her like eyeing him, and he like comes over and he's like, "Is there something I could do for you?" And she's like, "I got a sweet tooth." And
yeah,
then Aaron walks in and he's talking to the bartender, and he's like, "Who's that guy talking to Brooke?" And he says, "A dealer." So then he goes and he interrupts it.
yeah,
Um Part of me wondered if he was somehow connected to Lonnie
mhm.
and her sister,
Oh, yeah, that's definitely interesting, yeah,
but I'm not
look
sure.
into that.
um so I don't know what happened because Aaron brought her water and she starts drinking it and she's like, "What is this?" And he's like, "Water." And she's like, "Gross."
Mhm, yeah, and then she passed out,
She
and I was
passed out. And I'm like, was it because she was so drunk or was she roofied?
or did, she end up getting something from that guy? I don't think she did because I rewatched it, and I was like, "No, she didn't get anything from him."
It happened so quick. And I was like, wait,
Yeah,
I was like, she literally was just like,
She's
I was
out.
like, what happened? um, that's how the episodes ended. But there was other things I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Lonnie pays Taylor a visit at his house a few times and he doesn't answer, and she calls him, leaves some messages, and he meets up with her, and she basically says that she wants to take Blythe down.
Yes. Mhm.
And I was like, "Ah, I like this. Don't let her grab your hair." That's literally everything. Whenever she starts to do things, I'm like, just don't let her grab you, like
Mhm.
swat her or something.
Right.
So she's basically going to be playing a double agent. She's going to be trying to like listen in on things that and like report back to Taylor.
Mhm.
But he tells her, you have to make sure she still trusts you. You have to like play it normal and everything. Um, it was funny how Blythe was having a meeting with her lawyer that she has sex with, and
Mhm.
Lonnie like says to Jennifer, "Oh, how's it going in the position?" She's like, "Oh, it's going good," and she's like, "Oh, if I know she can be really demanding. If you need any help with anything, don't hesitate to ask me. I'll help you." And she's
Mhm.
like, she's in a closed meeting. She's like, "Where's your notepad?" And at first, Jennifer's like, "I know how to do my job. I've been doing this for a while."
Right.
And she's like, "I can tell you right now, if she's in a closed door meeting, she's gonna come barreling out of there with a list of things for you to do, and you need to have your notepad ready." So then Jennifer's like, "Thanks."
Yeah.
um, what else?
Getting back to the Taylor thing, he went to see
Theo.
Theo and Hope, and Theo's like not even interested in anything he has to say about this plan that he cooked up with Lonnie.
No. Um, and he's rude to Taylor, and Hope kind of
Mhm.
apologizes for him. She's like, he's
Yeah.
not in the right state of mind. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's pretty much it. Brooke is just kind of acting out. She brought another random guy home,
Mhm.
and she came down in her underwear and brought a breakfast tray up, but forgot her juice. So Hope had to bring her juice up and caught her in bed with the guy.
Oh yeah. Why did you lock the door? I was like, why didn't she lock the door? I was like, what? That was
And also, I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't be, but I don't know. Emma was at the house because she needed like a break in between doing errands,
mhm.
and it made me think: is she not living with Edward? Like, why wouldn't she just stop at her apartment?
Yeah. I did like that scene between Emma and Brooke where Brooke, like Emma, kind of like tells her she knew about the will and the Theo not being their dad, and it's just another sibling spat between the two of them. I
Hmm.
did enjoy that scene.
Yeah. Um, there was a slap that happened that I really liked. Who
Or
got
when
slapped?
she slapped, Emma slapped Brooke in that moment. I don't know if that's the one you
Emma
talking
slapped.
about.
Yes, that would think that was it. I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, a slap.
Well, I forget what she said to make her slap her, but like she was like, "You're not probably not even really my sister" or something like that, and then she slapped her. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
It was like,
it was.
bam. um, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Blythe is I guess we've concluded she's trying to sabotage the tides.
Mhm.
Um, she wants to go public. That was kind of the last thing with that.
Mhm.
Um, and her lawyer like informs her, he's like, there's once you go public, he's like, you have a board to answer to, and
Mhm.
she's like, I could deal with that.
Yeah.
She feels like she could deal with everything.
Right.
um, I really don't know what to expect with this show because I don't know what the end goal is.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we did the big goal, so now I'm like, now what are we doing?
Oh well, she's not done, as Lonnie said. She is not done, and that's the other thing. Lonnie also confessed to Taylor about her past and everything.
Yes, so he knows the truth.
He knows the truth about how Blythe kind of rescued her from a life
Mhm.
of like being she was in porn, I think, or something like
Yeah.
that, and on
Mhm.
drugs. And Blythe kind of got her out of that life, and took her to AA meetings and stuff like that, and basically gave her a decent job. So she did feel like she owed her, you know.
Yeah,
But now she's ready to, like, go against her and take her down.
right. Um, like, I don't know, does she want Theo to be dead? Like, is it never gonna be enough until
I don't
he's
know if she wants him dead or if she wants him to live in pain. I don't know which is what her end goal is.
I mean, geez, talk about, like, taking a breakup horrible. She's been, like, feeling like this for 26 years.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, alright, well, do you have anything else to add before we wrap this up?
No, I think I got everything.
Alright, well, thank you for joining us for another edition of Wicked Wicked Games. As always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps, and until next time, have a great night.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody.